areas of Rolling Fork, and then moving into Humphreys County, Louise and Belzona for 490W, that highway there in the path of this warning and this tornado warned thunderstorm. So I want to zoom in now to exactly where it is. And if we go ahead and change the speed on this to get you a better idea of how fast it's moving, when it's going to be in your area, and who needs to be watching this very carefully. So let's go back to our velocity to show you that it's still a strong couplet here past Lake Providence, moving towards Myersville and Rolling Fork, this large area that's included in a tornado warning polygon right now, including Rolling Fork. Cary, you're just to the south. You may be missed, but we still want you in your safe place as well. I'm going to put a track on it so we can, once again, get you a good idea of where this is going, who it's heading towards. This is including areas of Belzona. So if I am getting that right, just to make sure we've got everyone, 8:06 in Rolling Fork, so only a couple of minutes there. Although it's still in Issaquena, it's moving over towards the Rolling Fork and the Sharkey County line here in the next couple of minutes. 8:12 in Anguilla, 8:17 in Loch Lomond, 8:25 in Louise, 8:38. You've got plenty of lead time if you're in Belzona, but still, this is a strong thunderstorm that is rotating at cloud level. It is moving in your direction now at 55 miles per hour. 8:43 is coming to you in Grass Lake at that time. So once again, shave off a few minutes because we need you there as soon as possible. I want to zoom in now just to get a closer idea of where this rotation is. And once again, we know that this is a rotating thunderstorm and it's in an environment very conducive for tornadic development, and that's why we are on air with you now. It's 6:57 and we have been watching this storm for the last probably 15-20 minutes, and it continues to show good strengthening signs here. It's a healthy storm. You can see we've got these winds going away from the radar colored in red right here. Then we've got winds colored in green going towards the radar, up towards our radar site there in Rankin County. Excuse me, I guess it would be east now towards the radar site. But regardless, we know this is rotating. We've got Highway 1 right here. This area of rotation is now just moving past it, and those colors continue to stay very, very prominent, close together. This is not what we want to see. We've got Willett Road right there. We know there's rotation moving over Willett Road just south of Myersville and around the Highway 1 corridor as well. So something to be, people that need to be aware of this. Hopedale, if you're in areas of Booth, Rolling Fork, and Anguilla, this is heading in your direction. We've got a rotating thunderstorm, at least at cloud level. No indication, no confirmation right now of a confirmed tornado, but we know this is a strong system. Let's go ahead and check exactly. Look how much lightning this storm is producing right now. It is a robust thunderstorm, a very, very strong thunderstorm. We don't need you outside. That may be the worst place to be at this time. If you're in a mobile home as well, included in this tornado warning, we need to take this seriously because we know this night is going to be a night we have to watch very carefully for some of those stronger EF2 tornadoes, even long track tornadoes as well. Although this is not the most populated area, we've still got people here, and we've got a lot of areas that we need to watch out for at this time, including portions of northern Sharkey County, Issaquena County, and now Humphreys County. All of this under the gun of this particular thunderstorm. Ken, do we have anything else that we're watching from the National Weather Service across the region?
Yeah, I'm just monitoring the National Weather Service, and they just are communicating with us about this storm, and it says it's not confirmed yet, but the velocity data suggests that this is possibly, unfortunately, one of those strong tornadoes that we were afraid might occur in this part of the state. We were targeting areas north and west of Jackson, Vicksburg, Jackson points north and west into the Delta. That was under that level 4 moderate risk area, which 4 out of 5, those risk areas are not issued that often. And when we have that, we can see, unfortunately, strong tornadoes. As Gracie was mentioning, EF2 or stronger. We're talking about 110, 115 mile per hour winds or better. If that reaches the ground, that could cause major, major damage. Now, there's not a whole lot out there. We just have discrete cells that are popping up, and there is actually more happening a little bit farther to the north into parts of the Delta. Most of this, thankfully, is going to miss our area to the northwest, but this cell is clipping our northwestern, our Delta counties. And let's take a look at our warnings right there. Here's our tornado warnings. And notice that we've got a couple here a little bit farther to the north, and this one warning here was issued originally just for Issaquah County, but then quickly extended farther to the northeast into Humphreys and Sharkey counties because, number one, it's moving really quickly to the northeast at 55 miles per hour. And also, again, the signature of this is very strong. It's got very strong winds. The rotation is tight. So I think really this is an imminent tornado that can be put down in this area. So please take this seriously because, again, if we're taking a look at the velocity product here, and if you take a look at that, let's go ahead and take a look at this full screen. So I'll show you what we're talking about here. What we're looking for are the bright red and the bright green areas right next to one another, and they are touching. They are right next to one another, and we can query some of these wind speeds and take a look at that. Negative 67, that is wind moving toward the radar site. Positive 47 moving away. Add those together. That's about 70 in one direction, 50 in the other direction. Add them together, and that's what we're talking about. 115, 120 mile per hour winds. I think this would be if it is reaching the ground. Again, we don't have confirmation of that, but if it is, and there's a good chance that it is, this could be an EF2 tornado. So extremely dangerous situation here. I know it's not in a very populated area right now, but it is moving into a populated area. Issaquah County, there aren't a whole lot of folks that are there, but once we start getting into Sharkey County, into Humphreys County, we start crossing major highways. This is highway, I believe, 61 that goes from Cary back over to Rolling Fork, and that's Highway 16 that comes out of Rolling Fork. So you got some major highways right there and some really populated area. Cary, Rolling Fork, just to the south of Anguilla, and then farther downstream, you're looking at Humphreys County around Louise, Midnight, Silver City, south of Belzona. Those areas, you need to get into your safe spot right now because you are under a tornado warning, and this is a significant sign of a tornado.
Sorry, we have a confirmation now. Storm chasers confirm large cone tornado southwest of Rolling Fork still ongoing. They can hear the roar. So this is a imminent situation right now.
Yeah, okay. So this is, they have changed the characterization of this. And we've said, okay, and that new warning just came out. We've always said that if we get confirmation from storm spotters on the ground, or if we see a debris signature, then it would not be a radar indicated tornado anymore. It would be an observed tornado, and the National Weather Service has just changed the characterization to an observed tornado. So this is a tornado that is on the ground right now in Mississippi. Take a look at this velocity product right there, and you can see that tornado, not a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. This is a tornado that is on the ground, and I'm thinking it's probably producing winds over 100 miles per hour, moving across the county line from Issaquah into Sharkey County and really bearing down on the very populated town of Rolling Fork. So if you live in Rolling Fork, you need to be into your safe spot right now. It is urgent that you get in that location immediately. This is not an if situation. It is happening right now that there is a tornado on the ground headed for Rolling Fork, and it could possibly produce significant damage in that area. So please get into your safe spot. Do not be in a mobile home. Do not get in a vehicle. You need to get into a storm shelter, a basement, the lowest floor of a sturdy structure to a small interior room, and do it immediately with this storm. Let's query some of these wind speeds. All right, they just keep getting stronger. There's 70 mile per hour winds moving in one direction and at least 45 mile per hour winds moving, or 46 mile per hour winds moving in the other direction. Add them up, and you're getting now closer to 120 mile per hour winds with this tornado on the ground. Let's go ahead and take a look at our correlation coefficient. That's not good.
Fork.
Okay, so Gracie is just passing along this information. This is we first got it confirmed by a storm spotter in the area. Now we're looking at our debris signature, and I've circled where we have debris being produced by a strong tornado on the ground, and right now it has been deemed a tornado emergency in the city of Rolling Fork. There is a strong tornado which is headed for Rolling Fork, and eventually it's going to make its way to the east of there as well. So it's not going to stop when it gets to Rolling Fork. It's going to keep going farther downstream. So if you live east of Rolling Fork along Sandy Bayou Road and Matthews Road, let's say around Riverside Junction, any of these areas, you are going to be seeing this tornado moving across your area as well. Remember, it is moving quickly, so you don't have any time to waste. This is your call to action right now. You have to get into that safe spot immediately because it literally is only about a mile away from Rolling Fork, and it may actually be over Rolling Fork right now because what you're seeing is delayed for a couple of minutes. The radar products, there we go. As I'm talking about it, you see the update from the radar product. And unfortunately, I hate to see this, but there is a tornado that is hitting Rolling Fork right now. That is a debris signature right over the city of Rolling Fork. So we know that there is a tornado moving through Rolling Fork right now, and it has been over the past minute or two, and it's going to continue to make its way off to the northeast very quickly at about 55 miles per hour. Hopefully, the folks in this area were able to get our warning when we first broke in several minutes ago, and we were telling folks that it's going to move through Sequina County. Eventually, it's going to head into Sharkey County, and some of these areas we're going to be under the gun for a possible tornado. Well, it's not possible anymore. There is a tornado on the ground, and we can tell you for a fact that it is producing damage in this area. So unfortunately, we're having to break in because this is a life-threatening situation. We've got a major populated area in Mississippi that a strong tornado is moving across right now with likely better than 100-mile-per-hour winds, and we know that it's producing damage because we have got confirmation from storm spotters in the area, and we've got confirmation from our debris tracker. We can see the debris on the radar right there, which is the blue pixels that you're seeing right there, right over the town of Rolling Fork. Now, again, this is delayed for a couple minutes, so this tornado is going to continue to track off to the north and to the east. So if you live in Anguilla, hopefully it's going to pass to the south of you, but that's not a guarantee. You are in the tornado warning if you live in Anguilla. Get into your safe spot because you do have some lead time with this storm. Now, we know that it's right there, moving to the northeast at 55. We're going to track it out for the next 12 minutes. And these are the communities, again, that are going to be in the path of the storm. Obviously, Rolling Fork, it's there right now, but even Anguilla, too close for comfort if you're in Anguilla. 8:14, the current time is 8:09. So if you live especially on the south side of Anguilla, you've got a couple of minutes to get into your safe spot right now. This is the lead time that we're trying to give you to stay safe from this dangerous storm. Let's zoom out just a little bit, and I'm going to clear out the radar, and I'm going to push it back on the bottom left portion of the screen. I'm going to circle where the strong tornado is right now, and we're going to track it out to the north and east at 55 miles per hour into Humphreys County over the next 30 minutes. And here are some more locations that are going to be in the path of the storm between 8:10 and 8:36. Anguilla, again, that is coming up at about 8:15. Current time is 8:10, so just a couple minutes to get into your safe spot if you live in Anguilla. Ritchie at 8:21. Louise, which is in Humphreys County, at 8:28. Midnight at 8:31. And Silver City at 8:36. The reason we're on the air is to give folks that live in and near these communities a heads up and let them know that there is a tornado, a tornado that is on the ground, and headed in their direction. So hopefully they'll stay safe. There's nothing we can do to stop this. It's going to produce property damage. We can't do anything about that, but we can get people out of the way of this storm. And that's hopefully what everybody in the path of the storm is in the process of doing right now. So I'm going to send it back over to Gracie for more analysis on, unfortunately, Gracie, this powerful storm, which again, I'm seeing the debris tracker update there. So let's just get a closer look in. Right before I send it to you, I want to show you that it is past Rolling Fork now, and it's on the south side of Anguilla to the east of Highway 61. So we're still tracking a debris signature. I wish we weren't, but as long as we can see a debris signature, we know that there is a tornado on the ground. So this is exactly where it is, and you just have to know that as it's quickly moving to the northeast, it's likely going to be to the northeast of this position in current time. So I think south side of the city of Anguilla, then passing across places like Sandy Bayou Road and eventually Highway 14. It's only about, let's say, 2 to 3 miles away from crossing Highway 14 east of Anguilla. If you live in this area, you've got to get into your safe spot right now. This is a dangerous situation. What we think is a large tornado on the ground, likely with better than 100-mile-per-hour winds, producing damage right now across Sharkey County. Gracie, I'll send it back over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. Just to reiterate, this is a serious situation right now. We've been told the National Weather Service has upgraded this to a considerable threat, catastrophic. So it is a confirmed tornado that is on the ground. If you're in this area, unfortunately, like Ken said, that we can't do anything about this. All we can do is tell you this and warn you now. If you know anyone in this area, we have a confirmed tornado. A debris signature is the last thing that we want to see. I even just received a picture from meteorologist Jake Dalton that there was a confirmation of approximately a mile-wide tornado in Rolling Fork. These storm spotters could even hear the roar of this storm. And the bad news is that it's moving into an environment that really hasn't been tapped into just yet. So it hasn't allowed that moisture or that instability to decrease whatsoever. So the likelihood that this holds together and continues to move downstream into areas of Anguilla and also even Belzona is very high. So right now we need to be on guard for everyone in the path of this destructive tornado that is now doing significant damage as well. Just passed over the city of Rolling Fork with a debris signature holding together through that entire time right now where it has passed, which once again, I want to reiterate, this product is delayed by a few scans. So the tornado is going to be downstream to the north and east at it's moving 50 miles per hour, but we still have that debris ball, which notes there is a tornado on the ground. That is the bad news. The thing is, this is a very tight and significant velocity couplet. We know it's still rotating and we know it's still on the ground doing damage. So if you're in Anguilla, you have no time left. Hopefully you are taking your safe place, you're taking this call to action, and you're now in a sturdy structure on the lowest floor, put between you and the outside, as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Sandy Bayou Road, the rotation is now just over you. It's moving towards areas of Sunflower River as well. Moving further downstream into areas of Ritchie, you need to be in your safe place. Comita, Vickland, Updike, all of these areas are in the way of this very dangerous, potentially strong tornado on the ground. Once again, this is a life-threatening situation. This is now moving at 55 miles per hour. It continues to pick up that speed. Now it's a catastrophic damage is expected. So something that we really, really need to take seriously. If you're in Humphreys or Sharkey County, if you're just now joining us, we are breaking into programming for a very significant reason. Now we have a tornado on the ground in Anguilla. We've got this rotation being indicated here, and we also have the indication of the confirmed tornado, which unfortunately gives us that debris signature. And here it is, just south of Anguilla. We've got the different pixels colored there in green and blue, showing you that there's debris being lofted into the air, and it's moving north and east towards Highway 14 and Sunflower River Road, also in Widow Bayou Road. All of these areas, you need to be in your safe place. It's moving quickly. I'm going to track it now as far as I can through through this polygon. But here, keep your eye on this debris ball, and we're going to go ahead and zoom out as far as possible to show everyone in the way of this storm, in this very dangerous storm, that you need to get in your safe place. Just go ahead and take that precaution now. 8:22 in Ritchie, 8:32 in Midnight, 8:38. You've got a couple of minutes there in Silver City, Belzona, I believe. Unfortunately, I think this is going to hold together and go right over Belzona as well. Areas of 8:48 in Grass Lake and 8:52 in Marcella. We still have that signature there. I believe if we can look now, unfortunately, it's still holding together. So it's still doing damage. It's doing property damage, and it's picking up. No telling what could be picking up now with just the strength of this velocity signature. That has not even let up. You can still see the red and the greens, very, very bright colors indicating very strong winds. And we have storm spotters out there right now telling us there's a confirmation it's still on the ground, which makes this a very serious situation, catastrophic, if you will. Hopefully we do not hear of any catastrophes there, but we have a confirmed large destructive tornado located near Anguilla or near Rolling Fork and moving northeast at 55 miles per hour. So that is very, very fast. Now the tornado debris signature is still apparent just south of east of Anguilla. Current track takes it closer to midnight. Just reading some updates from the National Weather Service. It's exactly what we were just talking about there with that track on it. So I want to zoom in now to where we're looking here. This is where our rotation is, right up over Sunflower Road and Widow Bayou Road. Perkins Road's just north of you, but it's moving to the north and east, so areas of Ritchie, South Bayou Road, Alligator Road as well. Let's zoom out to show you exactly where our debris signature is. So we still know it's on the ground, and it's moving downstream of this tornado polygon, unfortunately, through areas of Anguilla, Highway 14, Highway 61 as well. Now, Hollandale, if you're hearing sirens, you are not included in this right now. It's going to stay to the south of you. Silver City and Belzona, though, it is moving in your direction. So something we need to go ahead and take action at this time, because we have a strong, dangerous situation. Storm moving right now just past Anguilla, heading towards Ritchie, and there is no sign of weakening with this very strong and dangerous storm right now. Zooming into some closer roads downstream, here's the rotation where we have the red and the greens coming together, very bright colors indicated there. But downstream we have areas like Updike, River Road, Delta City Road, and Boxes State Road, Tate Parker Road, Gooden Lake, the area and community of Gooden Lake, Murphy, and Willett. You're going to be under this tornado warning for the next, I believe, how long does this go? Until 8:15. Really, that's not even important. We know till 9 p.m. Once again, we know it's strong. We know it's going to hold together. And unfortunately, it's something we have to be here watching very closely for you. We still have a tornado debris signature, if I'm not mistaken, here looking at correlation coefficient. We know it's still lofting plenty of things into the air. So if you're in Straight Bayou Road, if you are in areas of Midnight, Highway 14, even Highway 149, or even if you're not here and you know people that live in this area, go ahead and give them a call. This is not a situation to bat an eye over. This is a confirmed large and catastrophic tornado that is on the ground, went through areas of Rolling Fork, now heading towards and just past Anguilla, but moving into areas of Ritchie, Midnight, Silver City, and Gooden Lake. Right now, just closely watching this. Ken, is there any more updates from the National Weather Service? I'm still trying to check here. I don't see any weakening, unfortunately. They were talking about that, the low-level jet is kind of what we say it's strengthening. Right. So unfortunately, we expect this to hold together. Is that kind of what you're
we've been talking about that low-level jet. Those are those strong winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere coming in from the west, and we expected those to increase this evening. And as soon as they did increase and they moved a little bit farther to the south, it picked up that thunderstorm that was in northeastern Louisiana and started spinning it. So that is what has been happening. As soon as it crossed the Mississippi River in Issaquena County, there was some rotation there. A warning was issued. I do believe the tornado touched down right on the county line of Issaquena and Sharkey, and it's been on the ground ever since. It has been in Sharkey County. So I want you to see this here. What we are looking at is still the debris signature. So Knowing that, we know that there is still a tornado on the ground. And what the National Weather Service wants to point out is that when it was over Rolling Fork, it looked like a better debris signature. Obviously, that's a populated area. Now that it's past Rolling Fork and the debris signature isn't as great, it is still there, but what they're saying is that it's moving over a rural area, a lot of farmland, so there may not be things for it to pick up, to loft into the air, which doesn't mean that it has weakened necessarily. So we still have to consider that this is a large tornado that is on the ground, capable of producing, and this is the word from the National Weather Service, catastrophic damage. Hopefully that has not happened in Rolling Fork, but I'm afraid that we're going to see significant damage in Rolling Fork and everywhere on the path of this storm. And by the way, I think it's been on the ground for about 12 to 13 miles, and that was one of the things that we were fearing as we were moving into Friday night, is that we could see strong tornadoes, which this is, that could be long track tornadoes. And again, just tracking the debris signature, it looks like it's been on the ground for the entirety of Sharkey County for at least 12, 13 miles. I want to show you what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and take a look at Live IMAX 2 full screen. And as the radar updates, I'm going to update where that debris signature is. I'm going to circle it right there. That debris signature crossing Highway 14 right now, east of Anguilla, means that there is a tornado on the ground. But I'm going to back this up in time. This is where we first saw the debris signature right there, right on the county line when it was to the southwest of Rolling Fork. Now notice the time there is 8:03. And the current time, and you can see we're going to pass it right over Rolling Fork at about, let's say, 8:08, 8:09, and then to the northeast of there, now crossing Highway 14 at 8:22. So this has been on the ground basically since about 8 p.m., and it's now 8:22. And it has covered now about 15, 16 miles. So it's covered 15 miles over the course of the past 22 minutes, staying on the ground continuously over that time, hitting the city of Rolling Fork, and now it just continues to make its way off to the north and to the east. So now we need to know where it's going next. Crossing Highway 14, obviously, you don't need to be in a vehicle when a storm like this is passing through. It's a tornado. Your vehicle does not stand a chance against a tornado, especially if it's producing 100, 115, 120 mile per hour winds. It is going to get picked up and it is going to get tossed around. So that's why we tell folks, don't try to outrun a tornado. Do not be in the vicinity of a tornado in your vehicle because that's an extremely dangerous situation. Also in a mobile home, we know there's a lot of manufactured housing in Mississippi, in the Delta. Again, mobile homes are just like vehicles. They don't stand a chance against 100, 120 mile per hour winds. So if you have enough lead time, you need to get out of that mobile home and get to a sturdy structure as soon as possible. Close by, sturdy structure, underground if you can. If not, lowest floor, small interior room, putting as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you don't have time to get to a sturdy structure and you are in a mobile home, it is actually better to be outside, away from trees, hopefully, and get to the lowest spot possible, like a ditch, something like that. You just got to get as low as possible as the storm is moving by, because the winds, the farther up in the atmosphere you are, the winds are stronger. So that's why we say get as low as you possibly can. Now, the tornado, as of a few minutes ago, we saw the debris signature right there, right around the intersection of South Bayou Road and Keith Road, right along Highway 14. That's where it was a few minutes ago, but we know that it's going to be northeast of that area now, as it's quickly moving northeast at about 55 miles per hour. So County Line Road, that's got to be the county. Yep, that's the county line between Sharkey and Humphreys County. So a few minutes ago, the tornado was here. it looks like, okay, so there you see it updating. This debris signature product is going to update every few minutes. And as it is, you can see that that debris signature is even closer to the Sharkey-Humphreys County line. In fact, you have to assume that the tornado has already crossed Alligator Road and it's pretty much on top of County Line Road now. So I would say the tornado is right about here, Alligator Road, north of Highway 14 along County Line Road, beginning now to transition into Humphreys County. So we want to get you folks in Humphreys County in a safe spot immediately. And unfortunately, it's looking like it's going to be headed for some of the larger communities in Humphreys County. Midnight and Silver City, to be more specific. So if it's around County Line Road right now, entering Humphreys County, it is at a speed of 55 miles per hour. That's about a mile a minute. It's about 5 miles or 5 minutes away. And I would say if you live in Midnight, you've got less than 5 minutes. That is not a whole lot of time. Hopefully you have been thinking, you've been watching, and you've been thinking about where your safe spot would be in case it stays on the ground and it tracks into your area. Well, it's still on the ground. And if you're in Midnight, it's tracking into your area, and it's going to do so in just the next couple of minutes. So get to your safe spot immediately. There's no more time to wait to get to where you need to be to survive this storm and hopefully get through this over the next several minutes. Midnight, it's 5 miles or 5 minutes away. Silver City, it's about 10 miles or about 10 to 11 minutes away. But remember, this hasn't updated for a couple minutes, so shave a couple of minutes on these times that we're telling you, and that's the amount of time that you've got. Although we don't want you to waste time, go ahead and get there now. As the radar is updating, we can see that debris signature, it is still there. So we know the tornado is still on the ground, and right now it is moving from Sharkey into Humphreys County. So right there, there's your debris signature north of Highway 14, moving towards 7 Mile Road and getting closer by the minute to the community of Midnight, which is now about 3 to 4 miles away, which means it's about 3 to 4 minutes away and probably even less. So crossing Highway 49 in about 10 miles or 10 minutes and near the community of Lambkin and Silver City. And hopefully this is going to stay to the south of Belzona. Although if you live south of Belzona, unfortunately, it is headed for your area. So let's go ahead and zoom out once again, and I'm going to track it off to the northeast through Humphreys County over the next 25 minutes, and more communities are going to pop up in this cone. We've talked about Midnight and Silver City. Belzona also in the cone. I'm thinking it's going to track to the south of you, but you're in the tornado warning, and it is way too close for comfort. So if I was in Belzona, especially on the south and east side of Belzona, I would go ahead and get in my safe spot as well. And we're also looking at the communities of Grass Lake and Famasola. And there you see the times between 8:32 and 8:50. The warning officially goes until 9 p.m. Let's take a look at the velocity again, and it has not weakened at all. So as feared, strong, long track tornado is what we are looking at right now in our Delta counties. Let's take a look at some of these wind speeds. Once again, 66 miles in one direction and about 50 miles in the other direction. Add them up, and you are going to get at least 110 mile per hour winds, if not stronger. And remember, we know it's on the ground because it's producing debris right now. So at a minimum, we're looking at, 100 mile per hour winds moving to the northeast at 55 miles per hour across Humphreys County from roughly the community of Midnight back over towards Silver City. As we zoom in here, some of these streets are going to pop in once again, and the places that are seeing the strongest winds right now are going to be places like Cartwright Road and Fish Lake Road and Straight Bayou Road and Gooden Lake Road, south of Mallard Road, moving towards Lambkin and Highway 49 West and West Levee Road. You could very well experience up to 100 mile per hour damaging winds over the next few minutes. This is a life-threatening situation. The National Weather Service has said that a storm like this, a large, strong tornado that's been on the ground for going on now about a half an hour, can produce catastrophic damage. So in these populated communities like Lampkin and Silver City and Midnight, we need the folks that are there, and if you live anywhere in between there, to get into your safe spot right now. Let's zoom out. If we zoom out, it sticks out like a sore thumb. You can clearly see where we're looking at this tornado on the ground right there, north of Louise. I think if you live in Louise, you're in the tornado warning. You're in the polygon, but it looks like the storm is going to pass just to the north of you. Not to say that you're not going to get heavy rain, you're not going to get very strong winds out of this. Yeah, so another thing to point out is that this is not a hook echo. The rotation is embedded within this mass of rain right here across Humphreys and Sharkey County. So it's not going to be one of those tornadoes that you can stand outside and see. Also, it's at night, and I'm sure there's a lot of lightning strikes. Check it out. You may see it briefly illuminated by lightning strike if it were sitting out there by itself, but it's not. I believe this is a rain-wrapped tornado. So don't try to get out there and look for it. Just take shelter from it. Louise, it looks like the rotating part of this, it looks like the tornado is passing to the north of you, crossing Highway 149 near midnight, but you're still going to see dangerous weather passing through with gusty, potentially damaging winds, dangerous lightning, and very heavy rain. So all of these areas are in a tornado warning. You're hearing the tornado siren. I don't think you're actually going to see a tornado in Louise, but you could still see life-threatening weather in the fact that we've got dangerous lightning strikes and very gusty winds, potentially damaging winds coming out of this line of storms, and embedded within that line, we have got a large, dangerous tornado. Look at that. We're looking at the velocity in this scope tool, in this round tool here, which is the wind speed at cloud level. And it's very obvious where we have the rotation now, near midnight, heading up toward Silver City, and it really has only got to be just a few miles away. Yeah, that's it, 2 to 3 miles away from Silver City right now in central Humphreys County, right up Highway 49 West, passing just to the south of Belzona. Now, what I want to, I'm going to let Gracie take over here in just a second, but what I was about to say is because this is holding together so well, it wouldn't surprise me if another tornado warning was issued, and there it is. I've been talking about what's happening right now in Humphreys County for good reason, but we want you folks downstream of this to know that it looks like it's going to stay on the ground. It looks like it's going to hold together. I don't like saying that, but that's just the fact. And the fact that you've got a large tornado that can produce significant damage on the ground, it's going to move through Humphreys County, and it's probably going to head into Holmes County as well. And I believe that's Carroll County, a little bit farther to the north, which is a little bit out of our area. So we're going to track this through Humphreys, and we're going to track it through Holmes County. But I want to read off the warning that was issued for Holmes County about 1 minute ago. This was at 8:32. The National Weather Service in Jackson issued a tornado warning for northern Holmes, western Carroll, southern LaFleur, and east central Humphreys County until 9:30. So we're going to be under this tornado warning for at least the next 57 minutes. At 8:32, a tornado was reported over midnight, or 8 miles to the southwest of Belzona, moving to the northeast now at 50 miles per hour. So the forward motion has changed just a little bit. It's still moving very quickly, but it's slowed down from 55 to 50 miles per hour. It is a radar-confirmed tornado because we can still see the debris signature. And in addition to that, it's also capable of producing quarter-sized hail. And as we just looked at on the radar, extremely heavy rain and tons of dangerous lightning strikes. It looks like this tornado is going to be around Chula at 8:55, Sidon at 9:10, Black Hawk and Seven Pines at 9:15, and farther to the north out of our area into Carroll County after that. So, tornadoes are extremely difficult to see and confirm at night. Don't wait to see or hear the tornado. You need to take cover right now. So again, I'm going to send it over to Gracie. I'll take a break here for just a second, but I just want to take one last look at the velocity. there it is. It is still there. We're still seeing a strong and a tight couplet. And let's take a look at the correlation coefficient, which is another word for a debris signature, and it's still right there. It doesn't look as strong as it did, but that may just mean that it's moving over a rural area, farmland, where it doesn't have a whole lot to pick up and loft into the atmosphere, but we still see something there. So it's probably lifting at least parts of trees into the atmosphere as well as it moves along. This is Highway 149 between Midnight and Silver City. So Gracie, I'll send it over to you.
All right, Ken, thank you for that update. I just want to go ahead and share a few things that I've learned while Ken's been talking and analyzing this very well, just detailed. But unfortunately, there's been a picture on social media that has shown the damage, preliminary damage that we know went through Rolling Fork. We saw the debris signature there, the tornado debris signature on our correlation coefficient. Unfortunately, cars flipped, just a catastrophic damage to property there. And unfortunately, that is the last thing we want to see. But this is a tornado we cannot do anything about. It's on the ground. It's going to stay on the ground most likely for the next several miles, and we know it's been on this track, Ken said, about 16 miles at least. But this is a dangerous situation. Just want to reiterate now, in Humphreys County, there's still an ongoing tornado emergency, and with these sustained winds here on our velocity signature product greater than 70 miles per hour, we know this is going to be one of those tornadoes that's on the higher end of the EF scale. We think this is going to be a strong tornado, and we know it's been on the ground doing damage for several areas. And look at the velocity signature. This is not something that we want to see, but it is an impressive signature. We've got bright colors indicating very, very strong winds. Wind speeds just over midnight. That's exactly where this tracked over just a few minutes ago, and it's heading towards Belzona, Grass Lake, Roseneath as well, 49 west, those areas. It is moving in that direction. And like Ken said, we still have a debris signature. We know it's on the ground. It may have just moved over a less populated area, maybe some farmland or something where there's not as much debris to be lofted into the air. But unfortunately, we still have this circle right here showing our tornado debris signature. And it once again has sped up to 55 miles per hour. So it's moving very, very quickly. That's why the National Weather Service has gone ahead and continue that tornado warning downstream as far as possible to give our folks up there just as much time as we possibly can to warn you of this very, very dangerous imminent situation. Now this debris signature and tornado is approaching Silver City here in the next minute or so. We need you to go ahead and take action right now if you're in Silver City, Belzona, or Chula. This is all moving in this direction now. It's moving at northeast at about 55 miles per hour. I'm going to go ahead and circle exactly what we're looking at to show you our tornado. Unfortunately, the confirmation that it's a strong tornado that's been on the ground for several miles now is just reiterating the fact that this is a serious situation, and it will continue to be for the rest of the night like we expected. Into these long track, dangerous tornadoes. Zooming out now, I want to track it all the way to the edge of this polygon, is just assuming that it holds together because it has held together all the way back across west of the Mississippi River, and it started to pick up and only gain strength. We still have a prominent tornado debris signature just south of Silver City, and it's moving 55 miles per hour. So if you are in this area, if you know anyone in this area, we need you inside. We need you out of mobile homes, inside a sound structure. Do not need to be in your vehicle. We also have word from a very reliable source and there we go. It just moved that tornado debris signature, the last update, but we have word from a reliable storm spotter out there. There is a very large tornado approaching him in that area. So he's got eyes on it. We still have a confirmation here on the tornado debris trackers. We go ahead and zoom in to show you, and although we're still in you can still see it right here approaching Silver City. Here's Highway 49 west, just moving over into the area of Silver City, approaching Grass Lake and Belzona as well. Go ahead and clear this off so we can get an updated track on it for you. But just checking with the National Weather Service, still going with a tornado emergency. So that means that the damage that this could do could potentially be catastrophic. It's a large destructive tornado around a mile wide, potentially, is the picture I saw, the confirmation there. It's a serious situation. It's nothing to bat an eye over, that is for sure. And unfortunately, I hate to relay the message that there's a confirmed tornado on the ground, but that's what we're here for, and that's why we're trying to give everyone downstream just as much notice as possible. So once again, here's an updated look, and you've got to take a few minutes off of this because this product is showing you the debris that's being tracked and lofted into the air, but the tornado is just a few miles ahead of it. It's moving 55 miles per hour. So if you're in Grass Lake, you need to get in your safe place because you may have less than 5 minutes at this time. 849 in Famosa, I'm probably not pronouncing that right, excuse me. 855 in Chulo, though, 901 in Kruger, and 907 in Sedon, 911 in Poplar Springs as well. All of this area included in our tornado polygon, and it's still every scan, unfortunately, every scan continues to show a tornado debris signature. We still know it's on the ground, so let's zoom in to show you exactly where it's headed. We have this color right here showing just northeast of Silver City, and it's moving towards Townsend Lake, just south maybe of Belzona. Like Ken said, though, it's going to be way too close for comfort. You do not need to be outside. Definitely don't go looking for this. It is not something that you want to be anywhere near if you have the option. Grass Lake, though, it's heading right towards you. Townsend Lake, Point Road, Highway 12, and into areas of Famosa and Belzona. It's going to be right to the south of you right now. Belzona Municipal, just a few miles away. Let's go ahead and zoom in exactly where and just take a look at our velocity product. Unfortunately, no weakening with our velocity signature here. Still seeing the rotation very prominent now. At 841, we still have winds going away from the radar and winds going towards, which means we've got that rotation and we have the confirmation that it's still on the ground. Unfortunately, this is a serious situation. Just checking again with okay, we have bad news here. Rolling Fork, lots of damage that has been noted to see Rolling Fork, Stark County. So it also reports that we have one person injured and several individuals trapped, described as a truck stop near Rolling Fork after a tornado moved through. So at least one injury so far. That is the last thing that we want to hear. But hopefully by getting enough lead time on the storm, if you're downstream of this, if you're in areas of the northern and northeastern parts of Humphreys counties, it is moving in your direction. You need to go ahead and take the shelter, take your safe place, get out of the car, get out of the mobile home if you're in one, and call all of your loved ones if they're in this area. Grass Lake, it is heading towards your region. I want to go ahead and zoom in some of the smaller and streets right here just to give you an idea. Brooklyn, Hawkins Road, Jones Road in your area, Haga Road, Silent Shade Road, also Highway 12, Mathena Brake Road, just continuing to move downstream as it quickly moves to the north and east. Montgomery, you're also included in this tornado warned polygon. And just now zooming back in, let's check and just make sure the speed on this has not changed at all, and I don't believe it has. It's now moving about 10 miles slower than it was a few minutes ago. So 45 miles per hour, still noted as a tornado emergency with a possible to do destructive, catastrophic damage. I'm going to update the speed for this particular storm that we know is putting down a tornado, 45 miles per hour to the north and east. Let's zoom in now and show you exactly where this rotation is being noted. Just east of Belzona Municipal, but Richardson Road, Jones Road, it is right on top of you right now. Townsend Lake Road, Grass Lake, heading directly to you here in the next couple of minutes. You don't have much lead time. Butler and Famosa, Montgomery, Jaketown, Grass Lake, all communities that need to be taking action. This is a serious situation. We've got notes and reports of damage, cars flipped, houses most likely torn apart, and unfortunately one person injured there from Rolling Fork as we saw the very prominent tornado debris signature. And look at that, it is still there. Unfortunately, Townsend Lake Road, this tornado is going directly over you. It's a large tornado. Hopefully in your safe place. Grass Lake, you have a couple of minutes, if that, and there it is, continuing to update every scan. We still see this tornado debris signature lofting anything in the way of 2x4s, tree branches, possibly even parts of houses now, parts of cars, anything that it can get its hands on. This tornado is not not letting up. We still see it continuing to move at about 45 miles per hour was the latest speed on this, moving north and east towards areas right now heading towards Butler, Wyatt, Montgomery, Grass Lake. It is moving in this direction. That's where the tornado warning continues to go. And I want to go ahead and check with the National Weather Service, just making sure I'm not missing anything. We've got several people with probably eyes on this now. A large wedge tornado still on the ground 2 miles north and east. So we know it is still in Humphreys County and it is on the ground. Unfortunately, expected to stay on the ground, stay a confirmed tornado moving into parts of Holmes County there in Kruger, Pinchback, Montgomery, Butler. You need to be in your safe place. I want to zoom in, check on the velocity signature. It's got all that it needs right now to stay very tight and wrapped up. Here's the velocity signature showing winds going away towards the radar here in green and away in red. If we query these, we can see just how strong. We've already noted that there has been a significant amount of strength and magnitude behind these wind speeds, and 37 miles per hour, and we've got 87 miles per hour, just to show you those winds going away and towards the radar. If you add those up, it is going to be a very, very fast storm and a fast tornado that could possibly be EF2 or greater in strength. Unfortunately, that is not what we want to see, but it's what we expected. It's what we saw and what we forecasted for the last several days. So hopefully everyone is aware of this situation, this very imminent situation now moving. This tornado is moving towards Highway 12 just south of Belzona, now going out to or exiting soon the county of Humphreys, moving into Holmes, and hopefully everyone can stay safe, get in the lowest floor of your home at this time. If you're in this tornado warning, if you're just now joining us, we have been on the air now for quite a while covering this particular strong, catastrophic, life-threatening situation. And now it is noted as it has been a tornado emergency. Now moving over Highway 12, heading towards the northwestern portion of Holmes County, zooming in now to areas of Butler. You're going to be downstream of this particular storm. Kruger, Pinchback, Oklahoma, all included, even further down out of our viewing area, down into North Carrollton and Sedan. I am going to send things back over to Chief Meteorologist Ken South.
All right, thank you, Gracie. Really good coverage on this, unfortunately, really dangerous situation. And I know we've been on the air for a long time, but there's a good reason for that. This tornado has been on the ground for a long time. We first saw a tornado debris signature at a few minutes after 8 o'clock. We are still seeing a tornado debris signature. Check it out. It is right there in Humphreys County, beginning to head into Holmes County. So the current time is 8:47. This tornado has been on the ground for 45 minutes. And you just saw the velocity product from Gracie, and it doesn't look like it has weakened at all. We're still looking at the potential for over 100 mile per hour winds from this, what has been called by the National Weather Service, a large, strong wedge tornado capable of catastrophic damage. And that's going to head into Holmes County. It's moving to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. So it's moving at a really good clip. You do not have a whole lot of lead time if you now live in eastern Humphreys County, especially in eastern Humphreys, but even in northwestern Holmes County, from Kruger to Chula, you've only really got just several minutes to get into your safe spot, and you really have to do it now because this is confirmed. This is a tornado that is on the ground, and we know that it's been producing damage. We can see it from the radar. It's a radar-confirmed tornado, but now we are getting reports from this area that we are getting damage. And unfortunately, so far at least one injury as this passed over the Rolling Fork area. And I think Rolling Fork got hit square with this tornado. I'm afraid that we're going to see some really bad pictures coming out of Rolling Fork later this evening. Let's go ahead and take a look at this full screen, Live Eye Max 2, and we're still looking at the debris tracker because this is what's telling us that we still have a tornado that is on the ground. Now, one thing I will say is that the debris signature was better a few minutes ago. That does not necessarily mean, though, that the storm is weakened, because it could just be moving over an area that there aren't a lot of trees or cars or structures. It could be moving over farmland, and there may not be a whole lot that it could loft into the atmosphere. But the fact that we're still seeing a debris signature means that it is still doing that. Whatever is in its way, it is still lofting into the atmosphere, and it is doing that right now along Highway 12 and around Grass Lake. And I believe, that is still in eastern Humphreys County, but it's only a minute or so, maybe 2 minutes, maybe a mile or so away from crossing the county line into Holmes County. Again, I want to back this up in time, and we're going to go back to the top of the hour at about 8:03. This is when we first saw the debris signatures. It was a crossing from Issaquena into Sharkey County. And when it was over Rolling Fork, a big debris signature, very solid right there. We can track it in time. It never lifted off the ground, right through Sharkey County and right through the entirety of Humphreys County. And now it's beginning to move into Holmes County. And that debris signature right now is right there on the Humphreys-Holmes County line. So how long has it been on the ground? Well, it's been on the ground for about 48 minutes, covering 38 miles now. So this is what we were talking about in the days leading up to this severe weather event, is that we could have strong, long track tornadoes moving through, especially our Delta counties. And unfortunately, the forecast has played out correctly. We have seen a large tornado that has stayed on the ground for now getting close to an hour, and over the course of over 40 miles through Issaquena, Sharkey, Humphreys, and now moving into Holmes County. So this storm means business. It has got a history of producing damage, and if you're out ahead of it, we want you to be safe. That's the whole reason that we're on the air right now doing what we're doing, is to warn folks out ahead of the storm that there is a dangerous storm on the way, a storm that can produce over a 100-mile-per-hour winds, and it obviously can produce damage. It is right now about 6 to 7 miles away from the community of Wyatt. It looks like it's going to pass very close to, but maybe just on the south side of the community of Butler in western Holmes County. It looks to me like it's going to pass to the north of Chula, but it's going to be between Pinchback and Chula, which is going to put it pretty close to Wyatt in just a few minutes. And this is going to be crossing Highway 49 East. Not a lot of lead time, but you do have a few minutes before this tornado reaches you. You have got less time if you live between those two areas, in places like Bentley Road or Belmont Road or Horseshoe Plantation, or again on the south side of the community of Butler. If you live in these areas, the storm is going to be on top of you in just the next couple of minutes, and you need to be in your safe spot right now. Now, let's clear out some areas, because we still do have a tornado warning for Humphreys County, but I think if you live to the, let's say, west of Grass Lake, certainly if you live along Highway 49 west and Points West, the storm is now past you. You're in the all clear. If you have been in your safe spot, you can get out of it now, but you need to stay there if you live in extreme eastern Humphreys County or the northwestern part of Holmes County, and stay there until we tell you that it's okay not to be there. And what I'm telling you is that you need to be there right now, because look at this. This is an incredible signature of a tornado. The debris signature wasn't as good, but the velocity signature is still excellent with this storm. So let's query some of these wind speeds, and we're looking at, look at that, 85-mile-per-hour winds moving in one direction and then moving in the opposite direction, at least 13-mile-per-hour winds. Add them up, and that's nearly still 100-mile-per-hour winds that could be headed through your area if you live, let's say, east of Grass Lake, approaching Chula and Wyatt along Belmont Road, and soon to cross Highway 49 East in Holmes County. Now, I do want to check the radar just to see if there's anything else that's out there. Fortunately, take a look south of there. and there's not much happening at all. We're clear in the Pine Belt. We're clear in the southwestern part of the state. Even the metro, we're seeing a few spotty showers, but nothing happening there. Some stronger showers still around northern Warren and southern Issaquah counties along Highway 61, but we don't pick up the severe weather until we reach the storm that's producing the tornado moving from Humphreys into Holmes County, and then farther to the north, well, it gets worse. So this was the target area of the state that we've been talking about for the past couple of days, was right in here. And that's basically where that level 4 moderate risk area was issued by the Storm Prediction Center a couple of days out. So we've had warning, we've had time to prepare for this severe weather event. Unfortunately, it is coming to fruition, and what we expected to happen is now actually happening. So let's go ahead and get these folks to a safe spot, and maybe here, once we get past, let's say about 9:15, let's see what the current expiration time of this warning for Holmes County is, and the expiration is 9:30. Now, it's going to expire once it gets into Carroll County. I don't think that it's going to be in Holmes County through 9:30. It probably is going to be between now and about, let's say, 9:10 to 9:15 that it's going to be in Holmes County. Once it passes out of Holmes County, it's going to be out of our viewing area, and there are other television stations, other markets that are going to be able to pick up the coverage of this tornado once it gets into Carroll County. I'm sure they're already looking at this and covering it now, but as long as it's in Holmes County, which we are responsible for, we are going to stay on the air and get you through this storm. One thing to note, it's a rain-wrapped storm, and it is at night. So you're not going to be able to see it. We don't want you to wait until you think you can see it or hear the storm. Go ahead and take shelter right now, because I'm telling you, within this rain, look right in the middle of there as we x-ray it with this velocity scope, you can see where that rotation is. If you just take away the scope and take a look at the radar, it looks like just a big blob of rain out there. There's absolutely nothing that would tell you that there is a large damaging tornado within that area of rain. But then when we look at the winds inside the rain, we can clearly tell where it is, and we know where it's headed, because we know that it's headed off to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. So let's just take a look at the velocity product, because that's the best way we're going to be able to pinpoint exactly where this storm is. And it's right there, Butler to Wyatt, crossing Highway 49. Let's query some of these wind speeds again. 89 miles per hour one way, moving away from the radar site, and 24 miles per hour this way. Add them together, that's about 115 mile per hour wind. So I believe that would make it an EF2 tornado if that's what is actually happening on the ground. It doesn't matter. A tornado is a tornado. It doesn't matter if it's an EF0, 1, 2, or 3. It is a life-threatening situation when any tornado is passing by, but especially when it's large like this. With these stronger winds, this is an especially dangerous situation, and you do have to be in your safe spot right now. If this storm is headed towards you, and I can tell you that it is, if you're in Wyatt, if you're north of Chula, and eventually if you're near Pinchback and these areas that are downstream of the tornado in northern Holmes County, Pinchback Road, Providence Road, Rosebank, Mount Olive Road, Randall Road, Holman Road, Phillips Road, and Holly Groves Road? Yeah, Holly Grove Meeks Road. So from south of Meeks to Pinchback to, let's say, to the north and west of Chula near Wyatt, that's where this large, and it's been described as a large wedge tornado, capable of catastrophic damage as it comes through with at least over 100 mile per hour winds and likely still producing debris. Let's go ahead and take a look at the debris tracker once again. And it's not a great signature of debris, but it is definitely still there, right there approaching the Wyatt area.